Hello, grade 6 students. So this is a new chapter and a new lesson. We're in chapter 9, the Golden Age, and lesson 1, a time of glory in Athens. So the objectives for this lesson are analyze the roles of Athens and Sparta in the wars with the Persian Empire, and we will also identify the difference between direct democracy and representative democracy. So in our last lesson, we discussed that the Greeks had fought with the Persian. So now we're going to go in details about the Persian Wars that occurred. And this took place in the 490s BC. So for centuries, the Greek city-states fought each other over land and trade. And then in the 400s BC, the Greek people united to face a common enemy, which is Persia. Persia had built an enormous empire that stretched from what is now India in the east to Egypt in the west. It had also gained control over the Greek cities along the coast of Asia Minor. And in about 499 BC, the people of the Greek city-states in Asia Minor rebelled against Persia, and during the uprising they burned Sardis, the western capital of the Persian Empire. Athens sent a small fleet of ships to help the rebelling Greeks, but the Persians crushed the rebellion. These events angered Darius I, the leader of the Persian Empire, and for some time Darius had wanted to expand his empire by conquering the Greek city-states. He was not only willing to give up his dream of victory over the Greeks. So in 492 BC, Darius sent a huge army across the land and sea to conquer the Greeks. His forces were stopped short when a storm wrecked the Persian fleet. Even so, the Persian War had begun. 2 years later, Darius attacked again, with his forces landing safely near the plain of Marathon, just 26 miles north of Athens. Darius' soldiers outnumbered the Greek troops 2-1. With reasons to worry, the Athenians sent word to Sparta to send help. Fearing that Spartans would arrive too late, the Athenian general took a chance. The general ordered the hoplites to line up facing the invaders as usual, but he packed the wings or the far ends of the line tightly with soldiers. As the Athenian general had predicted, the Persians attacked the middle of the line and pushed forward. The Greek wings then moved in to surround the Persian. In this way, the much smaller Greek force trapped the mighty Persians and defeated them. So now guys, we're going to discuss the Greek victories. Persian Emperor Xerxes, Darius' son, came close to conquering the Greeks. In 480 BC, Xerxes led an expedition of about 200,000 soldiers and more than 600 ships to conquer Greek territory. The Greeks prepared for the Persians' return. At sea, the Athenian navy had 200 ships, while on land, Sparta led the Peloponnesian fleets. Even so, the Persians greatly outnumbered the Greeks. A small Greek forced the Xerxes' army at a mountain pass called the Trimopoli. The Greeks defended the pass until their last soldier fell. In the end, the Persians broke through, captured Athens, and set the city on fire. Meanwhile, the Athenian navy withdrew to a narrow strait between the Greek coastline and the island of Salamis. The Battle of Salamis was about to begin. The Persian ships that sailed into the strait far outnumbered the Greek ships. Fortunately for the Greeks, the Persian ships were too large to return quickly in the narrow strait. The lighter, faster Greek ships rammed into the Persian ships and sank them. By the battle's end, the Greeks had destroyed about 200 ships. Defeated, Xerxes returned to Asia Minor with his army and his remaining ships. On land, the Spartans led the Greek army to victory at the Battle of Plataea. Although an official peace agreement would not be made for another 30 years, the Persians' threat to mainland Greece had been quieted. After the Persian War began, Athenians and about 100 city-states formed a new alliance called the Delian League. They vowed to fight the Persians and to free the Greek lands still under Persian rule. The League's members also agreed to pay tribute to Athens in the form of money or ships. In return, Athens promised to protect the city-states with its powerful navy. The Delian League won many victories, and in about 467 BC, at the Battle of the Eurymonde River, the League freed several Greek city-states, pushing the Persians away from the Aegean. Together, Athens and Sparta had played their roles to win the Persian Wars. However, the victory set the stage for conflict between the two city-states. So here, guys, I want to tell you a fast fact. So a Greek legend tells about a messenger running all the way from Marathon to Athens to report the Greek victory over the Persians. After completing the 26-mile run to Athens, the messenger died while proclaiming victory. In his honor, the Greeks added a 26-mile race called the Marathon to the Olympic Games. So this is all for today. Thank you so much for listening.